So in this documentary, we're going to talk about when a joke crosses the line into becoming an offensive joke. We are going to explore different arguments from different kind of people like comedians and TV show writers. And today we are going to try and find the answer to this question. And at the end of this documentary, I will give my own. Thank you. With my show, The Boondocks, I try to test that every single episode by constantly trying to come up with material that can be considered offensive to a portion of the audience. I mean, basically, this show is just how a black family adjusts themselves to a white community when they move in, and of course, there's gonna be some racial tension between there. And one other thing is that the show basically tosses around the word nigga like it's nothing, and by having that, I feel like that causes some controversy among, the audience and the viewers.
Music. Look. Rap songs that use the word nigga in a positive way. There's tons of them. Look, real nigga roll call. Niggas bleed. Jigga my nigga. Niggas for life. Real niggas don't die. Shame on a nigga. Suck a nigga. Ain't no nigga.
Avoid conversation with the nigga. The nigga will lie. The nigga will make excuses. He will use words he don't really know. If he gets really desperate, he may start to rap or dance.
You all testicles and no shaft.
Oh, yeah.
What happened to your shaft?
There is powerful niggardry at work here.
Who in the hell are you?
Nigga, my name is Reverend Father Uncle Ruckus. No relation. In the name of white Jesus and all great white men who have come thereafter, I command our black nigger soul back to the depths of hell.
Is that all you got, nigga?
Oh, no, nigga. That's just the tip of this iceberg. Read, nigga, read!
And I also included a super racist, white supremacist character called Uncle Ruckus, who basically hates African Americans even though he's black himself, only that he believes that he has a skin condition that makes him appear black.
I am not black, nor do I consider myself to be black. Many people mistake me for being Negro because they don't know that I am currently living with the heartbreak of revitiligo. That's a skin condition that's the opposite of what Michael Jackson's got.
And with Uncle Ruckus, you can see that he's just a super racist character. However, people react well to this guy. I mean, he's probably one of the most popular characters in this show.
I keep the bus nice and clean for 'em. These kids, excuse me. Oh, hello there, Miss Madison. How is my little sunshine? Whoa, hold it right there.
Hey, man,
Where's the gun, huh? Where's the gun? Go on, get out of here. Go do your little hyphy-fifey dances and nigger monkey shuffle somewhere else. This here bus is for kids with a future.
I feel that this character is supposed to symbolize irony, how a black person can hate his own kind of people, and that by doing that makes it okay to make him say such awful things about African Americans.
You heard me, nigga. Niggas can't fight. They don't possess the strength for character or the mental quickness to be a great fighter.
It's irony, and people let that slide because it's actually representing something. It actually has a point to him being a super racist character.
Removing an evil nigger spirit from a Negro is as hard as removing the stank from a hunk of shit. We must use these tools that the great God has given us to fight niggers. A whip, a noose, a knife stick, a branding iron. These things strike fear into a nigger's heart. A job application.
The one time that, however, that I was considered to have crossed the line was when I had Martin Luther King Jr. basically come back from a coma in the episode The Return of the King, and basically say nigga to a whole black community.
He looked out on his people and saw they were in great need. So he did what all great leaders do. He told them the truth.
Will you ignorant niggas please shut the hell up?
He just said what I think he said.
The main person that got offended by this was Al Sharpton, who was a civil rights activist, And of course, having Martin Luther King Jr., probably the greatest civil rights activist of all time, saying the N-word offended him. I mean, this guy probably grew up admiring his works and believing what he stood for. And I feel that I understand his anger and frustration. However, he's completely missing the point on why I had MLK say the N-word. I felt that he missed the point that the episode was trying to make, and that was to represent how MLK would react to the black community today and its culture and how it differs from what it was in his time. And by having him say basically nigga and calling everybody in the party niggas, it showed how his reaction would probably be if he was still alive today.
Black entertainment television is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Usher, Michael Jackson is not a genre of music. And now I'd like to talk about soul playing.
Al Sharpton has asked me to apologize, but of course I'm not going to, because having MLK say the N-word should not be something he should be offended by. I mean, it was supposed to represent something completely different, and he totally missed the point in that. And if he gets mad over one person saying nigga in the show, then he should have complained a lot sooner than MLK saying it. I also believe that there should be some sort of truth behind a joke. I mean, let's take for example a high school joke where a student leaves everything for the last minute, let's say, I don't know, a video project, and a bunch of people would understand that joke, because I'm pretty sure everyone has done that at least once in their lifetime during high school, and will ultimately laugh at that joke because, you know, there's some truth behind it, because it's, you know, true. And having that truth in the joke causes people, you know, to laugh. So I feel like the same could apply to an offensive joke that, you know, has more of a touchy subject than high school. Another thing that definitely makes the line between funny and offensive really hard to find is when people take a joke out of context. Let's say, for example, Stephen Colbert. Not long ago, he got into trouble with the Asian community for tweeting out, "Let me show you how much I care by introducing my new charity, a fake charity, might I say, that is called the Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for Sensitivity to Orientals," or whatever. And the people that got offended were the same exact people that didn't even see the show where he originally made the joke.
I was so inspired by Dan Snyder's charitable outreach that I formed my own charity, the Ching Chong Ding Dong Foundation for Sensitivity to Orientals or whatever.
Originally, he made the joke to make fun of a real organization called the Washington Redskins, a foundation for the original Americans.
Here's what happened to me. Last Wednesday, I saluted Washington Redskins owner Daniel Snyder for his new charity, the Washington Redskins Original Americans Foundation, which some have called an obvious attempt to win over Native Americans because it only uses the term Redskins once in its name.
I mean, now that is pretty offensive, but they found his joke really bad and offensive to Asians and basically started to tweet out hashtag cancel Colbert. And this is just an example of how people take things out of context and makes it really difficult to find when a joke is offensive.
I just pray that no one ever tweets about the time I said Rosa Parks was overrated, Hitler had some good ideas, or ran a cartoon during Black History Month showing President Obama teaming up with the Ku Klux Klan. Because, man, that sounds pretty bad out of context.
The joke itself, if you actually saw the show, was not offensive at all. But if you don't get the point and don't get why it's a joke in the first place, then you're gonna be offended by it. And Stephen Colbert basically responded by saying, "Hey guys, calm down. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't even see the show where I originally made the joke, because if you did, you would have understand that it came from a real organization and not something I just tweeted out for fun." And he also responded that he was, again, to those who thought that even if it was from his show, it still was offensive. To those people, he basically told them, "Hey,
he is a character. He is not me. This is the real Stephen Colbert, I mean everything I say on this show. He means, well, you'd have to ask him, and he's not returning my calls right now.
And by doing this, I think he justifies on why his joke was funny rather than offensive. The thing with comedy also is that time can also shift the line between funny and offensive. I mean, you can see from the movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is about a black man who is marrying a white woman, and how controversial that could be, and the parents' reaction to their marriage is rather unpleasant. And you can see that when the mother finally meets the guy John at the beginning of the movie. See, initially, the audience back then would probably have the same reaction as the mother, and having their mouth be gaping at the surprise that, oh my God, I can totally relate. We'll do the exact same thing if that were my daughter. But now, today, I'm pretty sure most of the audience would have found that scene funny, and how, like, ooh, yeah, it's a black guy. Nah. But it's funny to us because, we see that as a silly thing, and that the time difference definitely has changed that. And in doing so, it causes the line between funny and offensive to shift a little as well. Another thing I feel that should take into consideration is what actual offensive material is. Let's take example the poem "The White Man's Burden." I mean, that poem is obviously in attacking the inferior races that were considered at the time of the poem. So, by calling it a white man's burden to help these inferior races to better themselves and to become more like the white race is an actual insult. And I feel that people should take material like this and use it as an example to when an actual joke is offensive, and does it actually have purposely attack a group of people, like the white man's burden poem. I definitely think there is a thing called overreaction, and that this thing actually causes the line between funny and offensive to shift one way or another. And one example you can see of overreaction is when everyone in the news thought that when a rogue fan threw a banana at Danny Alvarez when taking a corner kick was considered racist. And I think that that's just dumb. I mean, last time I checked, bananas aren't racist, but obviously they connected it to having to relate to monkeys, and then having relate that all these dark people look like monkeys. But if you look at Danny Alvarez, he's not even that dark. So I don't know what they were thinking. And I feel that people that overreact a lot make the line between funny and offensive really hard to find, because if everyone were to overreact or everyone were like to be when there's like obviously nothing there, and just like for example, take like call me out just for wearing a white shirt instead of like a black one or a brown one or a red one, then we wouldn't be able to find that line. And I feel that if we were to base the line between funny and offensive from people that overreact a lot, then I feel that we as comedians would be strictly retained to a certain level of material and a certain level of jokes that we won't be able to joke about. And for example, we wouldn't be able to joke about bananas because and should not be tolerated or made into jokes. I feel that one thing that helps us define where the line between offensive and funny is the topics one decides to joke about. Let's say, for example, mental and physical disabilities. I mean, that is one topic that is strictly out and wouldn't be considered funny no matter what. And I feel that the topics you decide to joke about can be found at a certain level of sensitivity and like a certain level of like whether it's okay or not. And by knowing the level of sensitivity, you know the potential it has to becoming actually offensive. So I feel that certain topics help us define what the line between funny and offensive is, because there are some topics that is strictly out and you shouldn't make jokes about them. So after all the arguments that were presented and by the article that Raul Perez wrote, that basically summarize all these arguments and more, I feel that the answer to the question is that comedy can be about anything and should not be judged by what topic a comedian chooses to write about, or what kind of topic they try to joke about. The only thing is they have to deliver and time perfectly. So you can talk about the most offensive, touchy, sensitive subject there is, but as long as you know how to deliver it, whether it's on the words you're using or how you are performing while telling the joke, you can definitely change it into a funny joke instead of an offensive one, and ultimately lead people to actually be entertained by the joke. I feel that time is also a major part on where the line between funny and offensive is. There's no denying that that time basically changes everything, and fashion and everything like that. And it also changes on what is considered offensive. I feel that a joke about, let's say, World War II would be really offensive back then, but not as much as it is now. I'm pretty sure we'll be more tolerant of said joke and would ultimately find it entertaining rather than offensive. So I think that time is also a major variable on when a joke becomes offensive rather than funny.
I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made ladies sing the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that lights the dark so that you can know your left from your right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that let you know to call your brother son. The story that just begun, the promise of what's to come. And I'ma remain a soldier till the war is won. Chop, chop, chop.